Hello again, everyone. Now I will be covering exercise 17 in your Rhino Training Manual Level 1. Now please keep in mind that there are some readings in your training manual that cover object snaps, and they can be found on the bottom half of page 55 and the top half of page 56. So I strongly advise you to carefully read and study that section on object snaps before beginning with this exercise. So having said that, let's go ahead and get started. Again, we're working with exercise 17 using object snaps, and this exercise does have an auxiliary model associated with it, and that particular model is called Osnap. So as soon as you get that file open within Rhino, we can get started. So the very first thing that we're going to be doing is making sure that grid snap and ortho are toggled off. So I just made sure both of them are now off. And remember, that can be found at the very bottom of your Rhino interface in your status bar. The next thing we're going to be doing is adjusting the individual object snap settings, and we're going to clear all of them like you see here and only turn on two of them, those two being end and mid. Moving on, we're going to go to the top menu and select curve and then polyline, and then polyline once more. For the start of polyline, move your cursor close to the end of the line at the lower left corner of the first square and pick when the marker snaps to the end of the line, like you see here. And notice that the line starts exactly at that corner. For the next point, move your cursor close to the midpoint of the vertical line at the right side of the square on the right. Pick when the marker snaps to the midpoint, like so. The marker snaps to the midpoint of the line that the cursor touches, making the new line cross to the exact midpoint of that side. For the next point, move your cursor close to the end of the line at the upper left corner of the first square. Pick when the marker snaps to the end of the line. The marker snaps to the end of the line, and now you can press enter to end the command, or I personally prefer using the right mouse button to finish commands. Next, we're going to practice using near and perpendicular object snaps. So go ahead and move down to your object snap toolbar and turn off mid and end, and this time turn on near and perp, which is an abbreviation for perpendicular. Moving on, we're going to go to curve, line, and single line. For the start of line, pick on the lower edge of the circle at the top right, like so. Click one time with your left mouse button. The marker has snapped to the point on the circle nearest to where the cursor was positioned. For the end of line, pick the top horizontal edge of the second square when the perpendicular tooltip appears, like so. The marker will snap to a point making it perpendicular to the previous point. Now we're going to practice using the intersection and tangent object snaps. So go ahead and turn off your perpendicular and near object snaps and turn on intersection, which is abbreviated as INT, and tan, which is the abbreviation for tangent. From the curve menu, click line, and then click single line. For the start of line, pick the intersection where the diagonal line crosses the vertical line on the first square, right here. The marker will snap to the intersection between those two lines. For the end of line, pick the top left edge of the circle on the right. If you hover your mouse carefully, you'll see the tangent Osnap icon pop up. Then you'll know you're good to go on, good to proceed. Go ahead and click one time with the left mouse button, and that finalizes the command. Next, we're going to practice using center object snaps. So one more time, let's go down to the Osnap toolbar and check center and clear, intersection, and tangent. One more time, let's select curve, line, single line, and now the command bar will read start of line, pick on the edge of a circle. And this is important to note that within Rhino, it's much easier, if not the only way, to capture the center object snap of a circle or an arc or even a curve. Notice that you can currently see the object snap for center. However, if I move my cursor over what I would assume would be the literal center of the circle, the object snap disappears. So once again, when you're looking for the center object snap, remember to hover your cursor over the edge. Once you have the center object snap visible, go ahead and click once, and then complete the line with the center object snap to the circle on the left, like so. Lastly, we're going to practice using the Quadrant Osnap. So go ahead and turn off the center object snap and turn on Quad, which is the abbreviation for quadrant. Let's go back to curve, polyline, polyline. For the start of polyline, pick a point on the top edge of the first circle, like so. The marker has now snapped to the quadrant point of the circle. For the next point, pick the left edge of the circle. The marker snaps to the quadrant point of the circle. For the next point, pick the bottom edge of the circle. For the next point, pick the right edge of the circle. And lastly, click Close in your command bar to close and finish. And this completes exercise 17, object snaps.